Have you ever noticed that sometimes when people speak, they don't really get listened to? Nobody pays attention when they're speaking. And there seems to be something about their voice that makes them sound a little insecure or even unskilled in what they're saying. There's one thing that's in the media that people are talking about at the moment that tends to be prevalent in Australia and also other Western cultures that is really keeping you from being heard and being listened to. And it's called upspeak. Now, in some circles, it's also called an upward inflection. And in Australia, it's very common in everyday speech to have an upward inflection. But the problem is that in the boardroom and in business circles, it's not going to get you heard, and it's certainly not going to make an impact in the way that you're speaking with people. So if you want to make an impact, don't use upspeak. So what is upspeak? It's literally just an upward inflection at the end of a sentence. And unfortunately, when you use it all the time, it really makes us sound like we're insecure, we don't know what we're talking about, and we're asking the audience or you for your approval before we even say anything. It sounds like this. Hi guys, thank you for coming. And it's really nice to see you here. And today we're going to cover some things in this meeting that's about accounting. And then we're going to have lunch. And if you want to know where the bathroom is, we're going to have a bathroom break over there, and it starts at 10 o'clock. Can you see that a presentation in that way, or someone in the position of leadership, is not going to sound like a leader if they're using an upward inflection all the time? People find it annoying, but most importantly, people sometimes don't even know what the person is doing that is making them uninterested. They're not going to pay attention to you if you're using an upward inflection all the time. Now, there are, of course, exceptions to the rule, because in Britain, when they're asking a question, they don't use an upward inflection at all. And when we in Australia are asking a question, we do use an upward inflection. So the Britain way of asking a question goes like this. Did you go to the beach today? Did you need a bathroom break? But in Australia, we would ask the question like this. Did you go to the beach today? Do you need a bathroom break? So when you're asking a question, an upward inflection is absolutely necessary and absolutely normal. But when you're using the upward inflection in everyday speech, and especially when you're standing in front of a crowd and you're making a presentation, be very careful where you use the upward inflection, because you may not be reaching your audience. You're asking them a question. Are you asking for permission to say what you're going to say? You don't need their permission unless you're expressly asking for their permission. So be very careful where you use the upward inflection, especially if you're Australian, because we tend to have this as a really bad habit. And if you're in the habit of doing an upward inflection, I want you to record yourself and find out how many times in each sentence do you actually use the upward inflection, and are you using it in the right way? Are you using an upward inflection for your questions only? Or are you using an upward inflection all over your speech, which makes you sound disempowered and unskilled and underconfident and insecure? We don't need to ask permission to speak. So remember that. I'll see you next time.